I wasn't at my best, but I could still dance.
Okay.
You know, I'm an athletic person, right?
Yeah,
You know, so it was easy for me to, you know, I didn't forget the steps. I wasn't as good as I am now because I've been dancing now for like 3 years, but I was still good. And there was an intrigue about it, right? And I think that at first they wanted to embrace, some of them from Brooklyn wanted to embrace me, others didn't. And I think that I might have been off-putting because when I saw the way they danced, I was offended by it. And so was Enoch, right? That's not rock, you know? And I remember saying some things like somebody did their thing and I was like, yo, you're doing the same shit over and over again. That's not dancing. So I might have said some offensive things and I was just, you know, just being me.
Yeah.
You know, now I won't say, you know, and if I do say something, I don't even comment like that anymore. But I think that was off-putting, and it, you know, it set off, you know, I mean, if I said, you know, that's not dancing, you know, you're doing the same shit over and over again, and I don't mean to say that I'm better than you, but your perception of me is going to be who the fuck this guy thinks he is.
Exactly.
You know, so I think I offended some people along the way, and then it just escalated into, and then it really became dramatic. It got kind of ugly at times. But I pulled out of that, and I understood where they were coming from. And you know what? Again, we didn't dance, we didn't fight. You know, we danced. You know, we were lovers. You know, we grooved. You know, our shit was cool. You know, we didn't go to embarrass anybody or humiliate. You know, I seen a video. It was a contest, and there was this guy and this girl dancing. And the freaking guy was touching her while he's dancing, you know, doing burns, but touching her and doing, you know, I mean, that I was like, yo, that's some ugly ass shit. So, you know, that, you know, with that mentality, you know, it created like
a little bit of a firestorm.
Yeah, I would say so. But then after a while, I was like, yo, you know what? That's a whole world, man.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to respect that. You know, there's people from all over that love that shit.
So based on what you say, you said that, you know, that's not what you saw when you were in your time of doing rock.
Right.
Could it be that the boroughs just had their own way of going about things? You guys dealt with more finesse and a certain thing, and people from that side came more aggressive with burning. Because, you know, when I speak to those gentlemen, they always, a lot of them speak of the gang influence of the dance, and what they saw in their youth were older gentlemen that happened to be a part of gangs.
Right.
So a lot of the gestures that were done and a lot of the things that were done had violence or some form of an insult or whatever towards each other. Right. You're saying when you were in your time, you didn't see that.
Well, so we knew it existed. Okay, so most of those brothers you're talking about wasn't even around at my time.
Okay.
All right, they just wasn't there. They were younger. All right, so they don't even really know, okay? But so they did. I mean, I knew of, you know, people doing
that stuff. Yeah.
But and it was in the Bronx, but it was in gangs.
Okay, it was a gang thing.
Yeah, it was gangs. They didn't. It's not even that they weren't allowed to go into the club. They don't want to come.
They didn't care about that.
They didn't care about that. They lived so it was a whole different world. Okay. So you're right. It was a whole different world. It was not part of the rock dance. They didn't even call that rock. I think later on they began to call it rock, but in my day they didn't call that rock. You know, they may have called it up rock, burning, but they never called it rock. I never heard them say it was rock.
Okay.
But that's, again, I think Brooklyn was a whole different world. I don't know, I think, from what I'm gathering now. You know, I'd love to hear, I've never really talked to Joe. I've talked to Dave a little bit, but we never really got into it. As a matter of fact, Swimo, you know Swimo?
Yes, from Prague.
Yeah, she said that she's talked to David. Dave?
Little Dave.
Little Dave. And she said Little Dave has a lot of the same story I have. That when he explains it, it is very similar. Yeah. I think Dave knew about the Fresh and some of these clubs. I don't know if he frequented them.
He's older too, so
he's my age.
He's older than some of the other gentlemen.
Right, which is why they always refer to him. But he has, you know, he says a lot of, he validates a lot of what I say, you know, when they give him a chance to. So, but again, you know.
So for you, is it either or thing, or could it all exist within the same format? So if we were in this room and it was me, myself, X, Y, and Z, and then some of your students that you're teaching, could we all exist in the same cipher together? Or do you feel like it has to be separated?
I think it's a separate. Again, you know, so this is the best example I can give, right? So you have the rock dance that we did,
Okay.
right? You have the rock dance that the brothers from Brooklyn do, all right? If you take that rock dance, it's the same as it always was. It's never changed. It hasn't really evolved. They got more burns, but it's still pretty much what they did. I can tell you right now, Little was more creative than anybody I've seen with his jerks and everything that he brought into the table. He was better than, if he was here today, he'd be like the god because he was better than anybody today. He was a dancer, but he did jerks. I don't think anybody really did burns, but he did jerks and he did them beautifully. As a matter of fact, he did them so beautifully that my partner Enoch, before we got together, was influenced by Little and did jerks for a little while. Until we said to him, why are you doing that? You look better with the other stuff. And he changed right away. So yeah. But
you said Little was from Brooklyn, right?
No, Little's from El Barrio.
El Barrio.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
He's with the other gentleman that was on 90th Street.
Yeah. But Little was a loner.
Okay.
And he was always getting locked up.
Okay.
He always doing little bits, like 3 months here, 6 months there.
Skid bits.
Yeah. But he was always getting locked up. But So you look at the dance and it's the same always. It never really evolves. When you look at rock, that shit has evolved. It evolved into hip hop. It evolved into house. It evolved into breaking. So you get what?
Okay.
So when I talk to brothers, when I remember Cricket came here one day. You heard of Cricket?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay, so and I wanted him to teach me house. I love house. You know, I don't do it because I don't have the time. But if I had the time and can go to clubs, because you just can't learn it, you have to do it to really feel it.
Feeling, yeah.
Right, so Cricket was teaching me, and then he says, let me see the rock. And he was like, yo, man, that shit is house. You know, same with Capella. He says, yo, dude, that's house. You know, when I danced with, I did the 36 Chambers.
Okay.
You know, Link. You know, he did hip hop, I did rock, and it was the same steps.
So what do you feel separates? Is it the fact that you're dancing to a certain set of music,
Well,
and they're dancing to a certain set of music?
I think that rock is a dance.
Okay.
Right? With a host, yeah. It's even today I make up new steps that are rock. But I even have new stuff today because there's no ceiling.
No ceiling to it.
And that's the difference.
So do you feel
for me.
like one of the issues is that it got too rigid?
You know what? No, I think it's cool for what it is. You know, it's a fun thing. You know, but it's not like something that could grow. Okay, so just to show you how much, you know, I think there's a place for everything, right? So I wrote a dance musical, all right, a full-fledged dance musical. I don't have the music to it because I'm not a musical person, and I don't have the choreography, but I got the whole script, okay? And in one of my scenes, I have the uprock, the burning, because of the violence.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a dance, right? It's a dance musical, so I'm not, you know, you're not gonna fight, you're gonna dance and fight. So it fits perfectly. As a matter of fact, it's a rape scene. It's it's a powerful scene.
Wow.
You know, so there's a place for everything, but do I see that as a dance? I don't know. I mean, do you? I mean, so when I dance rock, let's say I'm here alone and I'm dancing rock, dude, I connect to that shit. So, I mean, I'll tell you the truth, I felt so good that I've dropped tears. You know, dances should be healing. It should be about joy. Can you do that with, you know?
For me, when I think of the rock that I learned, I think of it as kind of like martial arts.
Exactly.
When you first learn martial arts, you know, obviously someone who gets that type of power, their intent is going to be out there to go do harm or get into fights or do stuff.
Perfectly said.
But after you gain understanding and discipline, you learn to apply it when needed. So when I rock, yes, I can burn and I enjoy that, but I also enjoy just putting on the music and dancing without burning.
But I've seen that from you, and I've said that to you because you allow yourself to move. That's the other thing, right? Because I don't think you have to be a good dancer to do this, right? To do rock the way I do it is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Dancing is the hard part about it, not really the burning.
right.
The
Right.
burning is
So
the easy.
so that's it. I mean, and I think you described it perfect. And I think I said that the other day. You know, I said the difference for me is that it's a fight, right? It's a fight to music, but it's still a fight, and it's about humiliating, right? That's the mindset. Whereas rock is just about a showcase and entertainment. That's separate. That's different. That's where I see the difference.
And you see that has a difference of it was meant to be that way, and or do you see a time where, because I feel like the two could coexist. I personally feel like the two could coexist, and I also
that's because you like the two.
Yeah.
So when you like something, you can coexist, and that's what's happening now. Everybody, I mean, I'm getting calls from people who do, the up rock that want to learn rock.
Yeah.
Because they like it, and there's more and more people who they weren't exposed to it. And remember, we were a disappearance, so it's just now that people are starting to really connect to the rock dance and me, right? Because I represent that. Nobody else really does it.
In the style that you want to push.
Well, nobody. I mean, who does the Cypress groove? Who does the Amsterdam grind? I mean, I see people do it. They try to do it because they've seen me do it, but they don't do it right.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's a whole like piece to that,
missing
right?
link. It's the missing link.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the difference. So I don't. But again, there's more and more people liking what the rock, and since they do, they're combining both, which is cool. But I just wish that they would learn it the right way and represent it. Like if you're going to do the Amsterdam grind, do it properly. If you're going to do something that looks like the Clinton twist, at least do it right, and then you can add but get it right first. I think anybody would say that, right? Yeah. I think if you're a house dancer and somebody's doing house, but they're not doing the house steps, you're going to say, why don't you learn the house steps and then do all that other stuff, right? So that's my issue. But it's cool, But I think they are on separate. And even the when you talk about the culture, the life of rock, we went to clubs. We got dressed up. We would wear. Let me see. I remember, cologne. We wore Aramis back then.
Yeah, the pair of marshmallow shoes.
A pair of marshmallows, man. We even used to go to the thrift store to get suits. We used to wear 3-piece suits, old-time mafia suits. We used to put a watch in that sucker, to act like just the look. So and then you had the people who danced like that, who wore jean jackets. So it's different worlds. Yeah, it really was.
Different worlds. Some intersecting, but different worlds.
Yeah. I mean, because we both look. I came from the streets, right? I knew the game. I mean, I remember Artie. He was the leader of the Black Spades in my neighborhood. He used to always try to recruit me. Always. So we lived in the same. As a matter of fact, my boys, who became sort of like my crew, they were in the Shinglings. They were junior Shinglings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my brother, my boy Danny was the president of the junior Shinglings. Once they got to see me, what happened was I messed with his girlfriend. And he came to bust my ass. He came with his crew. And he was like, he was impressed with the way I was dressed. He liked my haircut. Then we started talking, and before you know it, we became best friends. He turned in his jacket, and I remember Eddie said, go, brother, I wish I could go with you, but that's not how I live. So we were from the same place, but we just had, different ways of doing things. Yeah, exactly.
So coming back now, you've seen what's happening. You're saying to yourself, okay, this is not quite where I left off, but it is. What motivated you to push the freestyle rock so heavily, and talk about like the feelings of bringing that back and what it means to you and pertaining to what it meant to you?
Wow, that's a good question because the reason why I say that's a good question is because I haven't really thought about that. But you asking it hit me in the heart, you know, because that's a big one, right? So first of all, let me just say we were at a panel one time. It was
Street Lab panel.
no, it was it was Buddha Stretch.
Okay. Maybe step your game up.
Step up, yeah, that was it. So we were on that panel, and there was people talking about uprock, and people was asking, well, what's the difference? You know, what do you know, what's the difference? And I was like, damn. And then Enoch said, what we do is freestyle. So freestyle rock. And I was like, that's not what we called it, Enoch. You know, he said, shh, that's what we're gonna call it now. So that's how freestyle rock came, right? So it's not like it came with it. We just, so that way we can make, you know, the separation, you know, that we set, you know, this is what's different about it, right? So
you differentiated yourself
right.
from what was already out there.
Right.
So you're gonna call this freestyle rock.
Right. So I think I tried hard not to get back into it.
They had to convince you?
No. What happened was, like, I was shutting myself off, but now you got social media. So I went on Facebook, right? I get an account. My son said, you got to have Facebook, Dad. You know, this was a while ago, right? 10 years ago. I said, fuck it, let's do Facebook. So, and then all this stuff, and I watched it, and I said, that's not rock, you know? And then people would say things that I would say, no, that's not true. So I got, and then I would say, and then it would turn into an argument, whatever. And I would say, nope, I'm not gonna do this. And I would go into my little hole and do my little thing, but then come back. What happened though was people started to ask me, you know, to show them how to do rock, right? So then that happened, and it kicked up something inside of me, right? So I didn't stop dancing because I loved rock. I mean, I lived to dance rock. So what I realized was that I shut, you know how when you have a bad experience and you just bury it?
Yeah.
I buried that shit. So when I started to dance, it started to come back up. So after teaching, you know, a couple of classes that they asked me to teach, just, I guess because they figured, you know, I was a pioneer, I was a legend, so they were doing me, you know, they were doing me nice.
Yeah.
But then I said, you know what, let me go to the studio, and I would come here and I would dance. And then dance and dance. And as the more I danced, the better I got. Then the cobweb. Then I started remembering not just the steps, but the experiences, right? The clubs, the people, you know, the relationships that I had. It all started to come to life. And then before you know it, I'm back in. I'm back in. And I will tell you that, you know, Buddha Stretch has a big, you know, has a lot to do with that by calling me in, you know, each year to do the workshop. That was awesome because it put me front and center, and I had to go in there knowing my shit. So I had to prepare. And when I walked out of there, I felt invigorated. You know, I don't drink, I don't smoke. That's my high. Yeah. And I found it, and then all of a sudden that I just got sucked into it. And then it's just recently where this whole Zoom thing, I'm dancing, you know, 4 times a week. You know, my weight came down, and I'm like, holy shit, I could still freaking get down.
Like, what does that mean to you when you think that, you know, like this was a life that was so prevalent for you in your adolescent years and your formative years? You left, you know, just to get back into normal life, and now it's like a second win. It's like a second. What does that mean to you?
It's amazing. You know, it's again, I'm like newly inspired, and I wake up every day inspired. You know, whenever I'm not feeling well, I'll go and I'll put a couple of days of dancing together, and bang, I'm inspired again. So it's like the energy well for me. You know, when things, you know, life, you know, kicks us in the ass. Yeah. You know, dance brings me out of it. You know, the rock dance brings me out of it. I mean, every now and then I'll get in front of the mirror, I'll put a house on, but there's nothing like rock because that's what I excel in. So yeah, it's almost like a spiritual thing for me. Yeah. It's become, you know, I mean, I've always been a spiritual person. You know, I counsel, I help people. You know, I've done that. And then finding this thing just added, you know, enhanced, I got another form of therapy, so to speak. Another form of being, another way to get inspired. So yeah, it's grown into, and I bug out, right? Because, I wanted this back then. I thought this was all going to happen back then. We talking like 50 years later.
Yeah.
God is saying, I ain't give it to you then, but I'm going to give it to you now.
Social marketing.
And I'm getting served, bro. I mean, I'm getting served. I'm just showing up. I'm not, no one, it's just happening. Just when I say, let me chill, something else comes in. Then something else comes in, so much so that I got an online course. My son is like, let's find a way to brand you, So it's turned into a lot of other things.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you got the freestyle thing popping. You're getting now students international.
Yeah.
Different places. Like, how is that for you
More
to
so.
share that knowledge with them from these different places? And off of that, like, what is your intention with the freestyle dance? Is it just to create a foundation for these dancers to be better dancers, or do you intend to at some point have some type of competition?
Well, I don't know, right? I mean,
Okay.
I didn't plan any of this.
Okay.
So I'm not going to
It's the
start
snowball
planning
effect.
now. Yeah. I'm not going to, I'm going to stay out of the way. But so what I've discovered, and listen, just 2 weeks ago, if you go on my page, you seen the two girls?
The two young ladies that was dancing.
Those are professional dancers, hip hop dancers. They've danced with Beyonce. Tennille gets, I think 2 different, high powered videos with J-Lo. So these are pros, and they want to learn this because it's almost like, no one really saw rock, right? So it's old, but it's really new. When I really get down, I mean, the hits I get is like, holy shit, dude, So, I'm just looking to develop it, right? And make it prevalent again. Again, maybe for the first time because, we can't say again, right? So yeah, it's like, and I use that, the old is the new. And that's what that's what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to teach, brothers like you, right? Because y'all the ones who are going to make, so, and I'm also, we're fusing it to other music. So it can be a thing where you just don't have to do it to just begun. You can do it, you can dance rock to almost any song. Something might change in it, but it might even be nicer. Yeah. I do rock to hip hop, and it's freaking off the charts. I haven't, shown it, but it's awesome. So yeah, just and it's always, I consider rock, I consider this dance the original street style dance.
Okay.
Right? So why wouldn't you want to know what's the original?
It's true.
Right? That's what I'm thinking. And I'm connecting with great dancers who we do a little bit of a session, but then we sit down and we talk like we are now. And they want to know the history. They want to know, this cultural phenomenon that I describe to them. I mean, the other thing I do, and I use it for healing is storytelling.
Okay.
I believe we all have stories.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? This rock dance has a freaking
phenomenal story. Yeah.
And I'm just getting, a chance to tell. It's the tip of the iceberg. That's why, I'm going to bring together Danny, Hector, and I'm going to give them time to tell their story.
Yes.
Maybe, put it out there one at a time. But I mean, these guys were phenomenal dancers, and they were great people. All right, so when I talk about Mike Dominguez, Danny, and them, we were their competition. We were taking their attention away, right? Danny was a little, like, yeah. But these brothers, they took us, even knowing that, they took us under their wing.
Yeah.
And they became our friends. They invited us to their house. I remember I went to Mike's house. We hung out, we smoked, we chilled.
Yeah.
3 days later, we're in his neighborhood. I'm bringing 5 kids from my block to face 5 kids on the basketball court.
Nice.
So, the relationships were probably, besides the dance, because there was nothing richer than the dance. But besides that, it's the relationships we had. Yeah, that came out of it.
So oftentimes in dance, people contest each other. Mm-hmm. If 2 people are standing and you say, hey, I pop, you pop, you're a popper, show me you're a popper. I'm a popper, show me I'm a popper. I break, you break, you're a b-boy, show me you're a b-boy. I go down, you go down. If I consider myself a rocker. If I am to come into contact with someone that does more freestyle rock, how would that interaction go from your standpoint? And is it a thing of either or? Like, does that person say, I'm a rocker, you're not? Or can I say I'm a rocker, you're not, based upon elements I'm doing, you're not doing, and elements you're doing and I'm not doing? Can that be contested? Can it be put against each other? Or because I've gone to a couple of events and I've seen dancers that rock that aren't on Front Street. I'll say it like that. People that are just in the neighborhood. Maybe they showed up at the party, and I sit back as a spectator, as you did when you were young, and I say to myself, wait a minute, okay, this guy's from this borough, but he's not dancing nothing like no one else. And it's not that they're contesting each other using the same elements, but they're contesting each other with whatever they got.
Right.
Whatever they can bring to the table.
Right.
Do you feel that today it can be contested in a fair way, or is it just really not meant to mix like oil and milk?
Yeah, I don't think it's meant to mix.
Okay.
I just don't. Because again, one is based on not really dance steps, right? I mean, burning, those ain't dance steps. When you use your hand and you grabbing your genitals, shooting a gun, that's not. So I think it's a hard thing to do, right? I know I'd be distracted and it wouldn't be interesting to me. I'd be like,
okay.
And I'd probably walk away, because it's not. And again, we never really did that.
Yeah.
So we just danced to the best of our ability. So it wasn't like I'm going to do something to you. I'm just going to do me here. And that's enough. Because I'm going to be so good that you're going to get embarrassed just by my dance. So I don't think that's the case, though. I mean, I don't think it can really.
Yeah. Because I'm just picturing it in my brain. If the lights were kind of like flickering here and someone came in and they just did whatever, and then, not to say someone like did a gesture to them, but if someone came in after and maybe did like 4 drops, 2 jerks, spinned around, did a couple of steps and backed out.
That's cool.
That's like a cipher to me. That's cool.
That's cool.
So
Yeah, that goes. Now you're
that
talking about what you just described was dancing. You just described little.
So that's something that I feel like I would love to see in the future. Just that synergy between the both, but not in an unnatural setting, in a natural setting.
Right.
Well,
I think people really have to learn how to do the rock first before they can actually, I would think, because there's just so much
to it.
Yeah, so much to it. So, but yeah, I mean, I would have to see that. And I think what happens is, right, so the ego gets involved, right? So if me and you are getting down and I'm just doing my thing and you're like frustrated, you're gonna shoot me.
Yeah.
So the ego will come in and the competitive nature is gonna come in. So you're gonna resort to to the dance, the way it's supposed to be. So, now if I always say, take what I'm showing you and then do what you will with it. Right? So you can turn it, and that's a whole different thing, though. Again, that's a genre, right? So if you take 3 of my steps, combine them with your steps, it's a whole different story.
Yeah,
it's a whole different story.
It's a whole new thing now. Yeah. So you got the online workshop dropping on the 21st.
Around the 21st. I'm hoping that I could get there the 21st, but you know what? The thing about the online workshop is that you can take it a year from now, right from the beginning. I mean, that's what's going to happen, I believe.
Oh, it's there.
It's there for the yeah.
Okay, nice.
It's just always one step a week. You don't get it all at one shot, because this is really. I mean, when I did this class, it took a while for a lot of. I mean, Swimo picked up stuff quick, but Swimo's been coming to see me for 4 years. So she's got a foundation. Shido from Japan came from Japan just to spend 3 days with me. We spent 3 days. I taught him a lot. So he gets it. But everybody else had a hard time. It wasn't easy.
Yeah, it's like
it was work.
It's like rewiring yourself.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's like rewiring
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they did. And they freaking, there's this one guy who was like just totally uncoordinated. He was a B-boy who could get on the floor and spin, but he couldn't, he had no movement. this dude is like, boom, boom, doing footwork off. I mean,
Yeah.
So it's
Back then, it's like what you said back then.
he was beautiful. He
just
changed.
yeah.
He grew, right? Right. Yeah. And that's why I did this course 1 step a week, and take your time, because it is very challenging. The steps that I find easy, I'm like, damn, why are they having such a hard time with it? But it's not, because it's a different rhythm, it's a different flow. Even like when I dance, like I could probably, if I didn't dance, because I could move, right? So, but if I didn't do rock, I'd get house easier, because the rock flow wouldn't get in the way of it, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, but it's so it's something that people are just not used to, but it can be learned, and when you learn it, you like tap into something really nice inside.
Phenomenal.
Because it's a groove,
Yeah.
right? The groove comes from the heart.
You need the groove.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little about music, man. What are your favorite records to dance to? Talk about at that time, in the heyday, what were your records? Like when you heard that, when this record went on that and the needle dropped, we knew Papo was gonna go in.
Yeah. My favorite, which is not my favorite now, but lately I've been listening to it, and it's gonna grow back again. But it was Listen to Me.
Back then.
Yeah, back then was Listen to Me, and Listen to Me wasn't the first. So I had been going to the Fresh, the Kontiki, and then the Footsteps, right? And there was the Footsteps when I first heard Listen to Me. The thing is that I heard Listen to Me and Mike Dominguez dancing to Listen to Me. That shit was awesome. It was off the charts.
It's like a movie, man.
I was like, holy shit, who is this dude? It was amazing watching him dance. The flow that he had, he shook his shoulders. It was like if he put his finger in a socket and he was shaking, boy. I mean, and then he just, he could move. And